Good afternoon, and welcome to another edition of Moments with Mindleaps. Last weekend, we got the chance to celebrate World Refugee Day, and this Friday, we have another special guest joining us, and her name is Toshia Jackson. So for those of you who might not have been part of Moments with Mindleaps before, this is a special series that we have going on where we get to interview artists, creatives, researchers, and dancers, dance educators. And they share with us some thoughts, some of their wisdom, some of their amazing life experiences with us. And today we're going to be joining in with Toshia Jackson. The last time I spoke with Toshia, she was in Atlanta, and she'll tell us if she's still in Atlanta. Oh, Toshia, I'm going to get to see your entire apartment.
Oh,
How are you? Thank you so much for joining us this day.
yes, thank you so much. I'm actually in Texas visiting family. Once the states opened back up, I was able to come with my mom out here to visit my dad's side of the family and her side of the family as well.
Toshia, you know that I'm getting old when my hearing isn't so strong anymore, so I may ask you to speak nice and loudly for me. I'm sure your microphone is beautiful, but I think it's my hearing that's starting to go. I don't think COVID has been kind to my ears.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Oh, can you hear me now?
Thank you. So we were just sharing with our guests that we're so happy to have you this afternoon. And Toshia is one of the members of our dance community, but we love Toshia especially for two of her Mindleaps identities. One is dance education in Atlanta. Dance education is something that's so close to the hearts of all of us that are connected to Mindleaps, and we really are interested in how we can learn from our youth anywhere in the world and how we can connect that to the arts. And this is Toshia's current job experience, which is so deep and so rich. So we get to learn a little bit more about that today. And Toshia's other identity for us is this famous thing that's called the Guinea girls, which we mean in a totally positive, awesome, like superhero kind of way, because we've had four amazing trainers go to Guinea, West Africa, and spend time with us, and Toshia is one of them. So she has all of these mixtures of experiences. We have some of our friends joining Toshia from Rwanda, from North Macedonia, from the US. So everybody's excited to hear what you're going to share with us today. Thank you so much for being with us.
You're so welcome. Are you guys still able to hear me now? Or no?
Yes, and the louder the better.
Wonderful. Okay, wonderful.
Okay, so Toshia, tell us a little bit about the arts have woven in and out of your life through dance and through education. Tell us what is the power of dance, if you can summarize it, which I know is kind of an impossible question. But what is the power of dance for you in your life?
Well, for me, the power of dance is it's just power. The power to move, the power to inspire somebody with movement without having to be in the same language. I speak English, but last year I was dancing and instructing children whose first language wasn't English, but we had a connecting bond. So for me, dance is power because it connects you from an infant stage, a natural stage. Everybody is moving in the womb and will come out and move as well. Even if it's just stretching the arms or having a little bob, little like babies do when music comes on. So to me, that is dance and the power of dance.
I think what you say is totally true, and it's something that's been kind of expressed in new ways these days as we look at the Black Lives Matter movement in the world, and especially in our country. And we think about how people can use new tools, because what we've been doing in the past is obviously either not working or not working enough. And I hear more and more people saying, but it's the arts. For exactly the reason you just said, right? It breaks down barriers. It doesn't have all of these identities associated with it. So how do we bring the arts into part of this social justice movement? And I know that you've been really active in helping us understand the power of the arts in that way too.
Yes, yes. Well, for I'm not sure if any of you guys have had a chance to see, but I know on Facebook and I believe Instagram, there are times that you will see how some of the protesters are carrying around drums, and all of a sudden a dance circle breaks out. So all of us know who are dancers understand what a dance circle is, but those of us who are watching this who don't know what a dance circle is, it's just people come into a circle is formed, and then people come into the middle of the circle and dance, or groups of people come into the middle of the circle and dance. But you've seen a lot of that happen with many of the protests. Dancers, non-dancers, I mean, from all walks of life. I've even seen some of our LGBTQ community members out there using dance as a way to voice their frustration, to voice how they're feeling, to voice the power that is within them through movement to some of the at some of the protests with some of the things that are going on. So yeah,
Yeah, it's what you say is really true, and it makes me kind of think about some of the way Mindleaps kids have responded to this and other issues that they face in their lives too. When it's like a way to express their frustration. So it's both the power and like an emotional tool that we use. And in
yeah,
some of the time that you've spent with us in Guinea, I know that you've been part of our team to think about how do we kind of deepen that level of awareness about how
yeah,
these kids are processing things emotionally and then transferring that into education, which is one of your many job titles right now, Toshia, as a dance educator in Atlanta in the school system, which is such an important, crucial way that we can inspire this change through the next generations. I wonder if you would share with us a little bit about how you see kind of the emotional expression, not necessarily of just this, but of everything these kids deal with all their lives in both Atlanta and maybe some of what you saw in Guinea too.
yes. Well, as an educator, the one thing that I have learned, and I've been in public school education, teaching dance in a public school education setting. Now, I just completed my 8th year. And one of the things that I have learned and noticed was it didn't matter the level of intellect, it didn't matter the level of background, the culture, or any of that. Most all of my students that I come in contact, while they may be apprehensive at the beginning of class because I'm a dance teacher, but I don't know technique. It's okay that you don't know technique because they learn they can use dance or art as a form of relieving stress, as a form of being able to talk through things. Because sometimes I don't hold class. I just have a session to where the kids can talk about their feelings and be heard, let their voice be heard. And those who take dance as an avenue that want to pursue it as a career, they're able to get out their frustration there through movement or be able to just express what they're feeling. And the frustration could be academic, it could be home situation, it could be a relationship situation. So the arts are very needed for our youth because a lot of times their level of maturation, their level of maturity is not there. The brain does not fully develop until you're well into your 20s and sometimes 30s. So to get that out, you need the arts to help you. That's why they use art therapy for children who've gone through things. That's why they use movement therapy to help children. That's why they use chorus or singing music lessons, instruments. I mean, the blues came from deep down feelings. I mean, so it is very important that our youth are able to navigate through art systems. That's why I was a little bit disheartened when I found out a school district in one of the northern states is doing away with PE and fine art courses and
Yeah.
visual art courses for the coming year due to COVID.
Yeah, and what you comment about, frustration can be so many things, and frustration academically, frustration with relationships, frustration with with movement itself, right? And when the kids track to become professional dancers, that's just as frustrating sometimes. Frustration with injury. There's so many different things that kind of weaves back to. And then also what you say here is for some youth, for some of us, like it becomes your instrument, right? If you asked so many of these youth that you work with, the youth that you've seen in Mindleaps, like how do you want to communicate this? All of them would start to move their bodies. So remembering that like that's an instrument that empowers them, and if we're lucky enough to be teachers, we can help guide that. I think is really special.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about so I have to say, as a moment of truth, Toshia, when we got the list of dancers who had gone through this very intensive training to prepare in the Mindleaps curriculum and our grading system, then we got the list of trainers who were interested in traveling to West Africa. For the first time we were doing training in the field, and your name was on the list. I was thrilled and I was so surprised because I thought, Toshia is not going to think that this is a useful experience. She's already an expert in dance education. We're like, there's no way that she's going to want to join our team. And then we saw that you wanted to come. And then when you came, we're like, okay, ask Toshia. She's the expert. And now since you've come back since December, we're still asking you. Tell us, why did you choose to get involved with Mindleaps? How did you end up yourself choosing to come to Guinea, West Africa, which can be a challenging place?
Yes. The heat. Whoa, goodness, the heat. But I wouldn't take it back. I wouldn't take any part of my experience of being in Guinea away from my life. Like if I had to do it again, I would do it again over and over and over again. That's just how special of a place Guinea, Africa has in my heart. Well, for a long time, oh, it's storming here in Texas. So if the lights go out, I still hope you can see me. Sorry. Okay, back on track. Um, so for me, I honestly always wanted to teach internationally. Always wanted to teach professional and high school age, pre-professional people. And on my vision board for a few years, I had placed on there being able to teach internationally. And the spirit, I'm Christian and I do believe in God. And I felt like the spirit led me one day to just start picturing myself and envisioning myself doing work overseas with dance and youth. Um, and the Holy Spirit just led me to create a picture reel and then just start sending it out and just doing my research to see what organizations are teaching dance overseas and where. And I didn't have a specific place, but I know I've always wanted to go back to Israel. And so there's a good dance theater there. I've always wanted to go back and settle work with their dance company or the pre-professional company. And I've always been fascinated with Australia and Africa and a couple of other places. So my heart wasn't really set any specific place. But I just followed the steps that I was being led to do. And I reached out to one company that was based in Savannah, Georgia, and I didn't hear back from them. But Mindly popped up on my news feed one day. And it was saying that they were looking for trainers to teach their children in Africa, their students in Africa dance and help them to integrate back into the education system. And I said, well, that's a phenomenal thing. That to myself, I said, so that's a great thing that they're using dance to help these youth build confidence to be able to believe that they could learn in an educational setting to grow up and to be their next ambassador or their next engineer or anything like that and build up the community. So I did a little bit more research on Mindleaps, and then without any of my family knowing, I submitted the application. And I said, okay, if I get approved, I mean, not get approved, if I get accepted into the program, then I will let them know. And then I was accepted into the program and said, oh my gosh, I can't believe that I was chosen because I knew it was a worldwide application process. And then got there to New York, got a chance to meet everybody. And some of the ladies that I ended up going to Guinea with, and the process was hard. It was a lot. I sweat every day. I learned so much. But I also started learning about areas of weakness for myself, and I enjoyed that because the only way you can become stronger for the youth that you teach is when you steadily are growing yourself. So then when the invitation was extended, I wasn't sure if I would be able to, as a public school teacher, you're only allowed to be gone for so long. And I just said, well, it's what I want to do. Let me just put it out there. And one, my lead said that they would love for me to go into the field to test to see if it would be a good fit as a trainer. I said my prayers and then I started navigating the proper channels, and my principal allowed me to leave to go to Guinea to teach. And from there, it's my life has changed. Like it's
It's
not the same. Sometimes I still talk to the trainers and the directors there in Guinea from time to time on WhatsApp and Instagram and all of that. They're just a new part of me. They're my extended family, and I love it. I just
it's
the kids, the staff, the just to see the strength of those youth and to power through to some of their living situations and family relations, and just the power, going back to your first question, the power of dance, how the power of dance is growing them and preparing them to be resilient adults and go forth and do successful things. Like, yes.
it's so interesting to hear you describe it from your side, because I remember. So I was fortunate to be with your group, and I remember. I mean, we did training here, but it's different when. I mean, we say that all the time, right? It's different when you're not actually in the field. And then when we
Yeah.
got into the field, I remember watching the first class you taught, and I was like, well, no wonder she's a dance teacher in Atlanta. Like the way you could command the class with, at that time, no French, but then you learned a lot of French when you were there. But watching
That,
how the kids just like looked at you like, who is this like like you said, the first question, this power, this like source of like love and power who's trying to teach us, and even though we don't understand what you say, like we want to learn. And so like watching that reaction just shows me again when we like flipped the question around why dance education here in our country is so important, right? Not only does it empower all of these kids, but look at like the leaders it creates in our own communities, and then that
yeah.
skill set is transferable across like the most different possible environments, Atlanta and Guinea, West Africa, right? And I just remember having such a strong impression of standing at the back of the hot, sweaty studio and watching you with your teacher voice. And I was like, this makes sense. um, and so it's interesting. A lot of our friends from Rwanda are joining, and also more from our group in North Macedonia. Miles is joining from Rwanda. And I just think all of them would be so fascinated to hear what you're saying about the fact that dance is this huge, powerful force that is not so difficult to move around, right? Like you said, it doesn't matter if you're in or you're out. Actually, we're all the same when we're doing whatever movement that is. And you've seen it on now very, very different environments and very different kids, and that's kind of what we want to take forward. And
Yeah.
I wonder, kind of in this period when we think about COVID, how do you use that mindset right now when everyone's turned virtual or just said given up on the arts and said you can only do it live, it's only powerful when it's live. Knowing all of the things and all the experiences you've had, what do you reflect on in COVID with the power of the arts?
Well, with COVID and the power of the art, I would say that I would say that it is a difference that you're not physically able to touch your students or to physically touch um, your peers. But energy is energy, and it transcends through anything, whether it's on the computer screen, the phone screen, or in person. If it's meant to touch you, it will touch you. And for me, there are things that I've seen um, on YouTube, videos that I've watched, and it still touched me and resonated with me. No, we may not physically be able to feel the pulses of the instruments or the voice, and to feel it absorbed through our skin. But I believe that energy touches us in a different way, in a more intellectual and visual way. And so COVID, I think, has changed the appreciation for the arts for those of us who are definitely artists, and those who are interested in supporting the arts has shown, because without the arts, I do believe a lot of people would not have been able to sustain or have a healthy mental stability or emotional stability without being able to be connected to it some way. There were times where I know I just sat and listened to music, and that grounded me. Sometimes I would be able to take a yoga class with Caitlin, and that would help ground me. And just the arts is needed. The arts, I believe, is what helped save a lot of people during this COVID situation.
I've had the chance to speak with different dancers over the last few weeks about this issue, and nobody's quite said what you've said. But when you say it, it makes so much sense to me. When you say that, like, COVID has made us appreciate the arts. Like, people said, well, we're turning to the arts, or we're trying to find ways to use the arts. But it's also, like you say, it's this appreciation for it. Like, nobody thought before there would be a day when we can't go to live theater. Right? Nobody thought there would
Right,
be a day when Broadway doesn't exist. So,
right.
like, maybe like we enjoy it and we think, oh, great entertainment. But when it's taken away, then you feel like the emptiness. So it's yeah, really like astute the way you phrase that for us.
The saying goes, you don't know what you have until it's gone.
No. So Toshia, in the last few minutes that we have together, you are the perfectly poised person to answer this question. So you see youth in our country, and now you've seen them in Mindleaps other countries, who think that they want to be dancers or who want to be creatives, and maybe they will, and maybe they won't, but they don't know how to kind of tackle that career path, or if that's their dream, often they kind of get stuck with what's the first step. And it's an
Right.
impossible question to kind of come up with the one right answer, but what would you tell these youth if they really wanted to pursue a professional career in dance or dance education?
Okay, well, the first thing that I will say is learn to fight through the no. In the entertainment world, you will receive a lot of no's. The no may come in the form of, oh, you're not the right look, or oh, it's not the right tone or sound, or oh, no, we were looking for you to play this or that. You don't always know what they're seeking, but the one thing that you can know and the one thing that you can do is believe in yourself without a doubt that you are good enough to make it to the level that you want to make. With that, to make it with that, develop a standard of excellence that nobody can sway you to do something that you're not comfortable just to reach to a next level. If you keep a high level of standard, that means you will always be ready when the time comes to show what you're capable of. And then the third thing is making lasting impressions and lasting connections. The art world, the individually by genre, dance, visual arts, screen. orchestra, any of that, they're all connected. So somebody is going to know somebody. Do not burn a bridge. If you are know that you have a problem with authority, fix it. Because how will you grow? They 9 times out of 10 see something in you that needs shaping and developing that you haven't figured out for yourself. So, with all of that I just said, I do hope you're understanding and read between the lines. Hold a standard, know what you want, and be teachable at all times without being swayed from your standard of excellence.
That advice is probably something that we could take far beyond just building careers in the arts as well. I love it. And our friends in Rwanda are all giving you like the thumbs up, like, yeah, that's the right thing. So it's internationally approved already. And we would totally be remiss, Toshia, if we didn't say hello to Julia. One of the famous Guinea girls is joining us. So we're looking forward to talking to all four of you eventually on Moments with Mindleaps. But Toshia, we're so fortunate that you've been our first Guinea girl and so close to our hearts to share these thoughts with us today. Toshia, I know you and I are going to get together again on Tuesday for something more fun for our audience. Yes. But Toshia, I'm so grateful for everything you do here in the US, but also for helping Mindleaps learn more about these tools that we can use for our kids in our countries. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for thinking of us Guinea girls and holding us to the way that you do. I love our group. That's all I can say.
And we love you. Okay, thank you so much, Toshia. We'll talk soon. For everyone, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.